Well, thank you again for joining us again for our first Youth Subcommittee meeting of 2026. I am Samantha Harris. I'm the Director of Programs here at Hire. And at Hire, our mission is to maximize the skills and opportunities for formerly incarcerated and system-involved youth here in Orange County. We do that through employment, community building, and mentorship. And as part of our community building, we host two different subcommittee meetings. This one, the Youth Subcommittee meeting, we do these quarterly, and we also have an employment subcommittee meeting, and that first one is in February. The purpose of these meetings is to connect service providers, educate on relevant topics, and share resources. So happy you could all be here for just a rundown for those of you that this might be your first time attending. We usually do a quick intro. So those of you that are just hopping on, if you could just in the chat, put your name, the organization you're with, and your contact info. And then we'll just briefly go around the room and just, introduce yourself and who you're with. We have an amazing guest speaker today that I will present after the introductions. And then at the end of our presentation, we will have time for questions and then also any announcements or anything you have on your end. So with that being said again, Samantha Harris, Director of Programs, and I'm going to go on to Nicole.
Hi, good afternoon. Nicole Woodworth with Hire. I'm Hire's Business Development Manager. So I support our clients in job readiness, supporting them with resume writing, cover letter writing, mock interviewing, but also cultivating and stewarding relationships with employers in Orange County to create those direct pipelines of job placement for our clients. So great to have you all here today, and I'll pass it to Sammy.
Hi, I'm Sammy. I am a new member here at Hire, and I'm going charge of intake and outreach.
Thank you, Sammy. Connie?
Yes, I'm with the Orange County Juvenile Justice Commission. I'm happy to be here and thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it. I haven't been to a meeting before like this, so I'm interested to see what what you're all been doing.
Great, thank you for joining us. Juliana?
Hi, I am the program coordinator for Human Works Foundation, and this is the first time that our new hire is attending the hire meeting.
Great, thank you. Welcome. Crystal?
Hi, yes, thank you.
Oh, you're on mute. I don't know if you were going to say something else or if you were done.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
It's
so
all good.
I'm the new program assistant for Human Works Foundation. I'm going to be working closely with Juliana. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Great, thank you for coming. Rebecca? Rebecca, are you there? If so, you're muted.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lozano. I'm sorry, I don't have a camera. I could barely hear. I'm from Orange County Probation. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Ruby?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ruby. I'm with Ready Set OC, the Employment and Training Program.
Thank you. Kiana?
Hello, my name is Kiana. I'm a fundraiser coordinator for Carpenter Training Partners, and this is my first time meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Faustino? Or no, Griselda, sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Griselda, and I'm the Office Manager Apprentice for Carpenter Training Partners. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And who's next? Is it Marley?
Yeah, hi, I'm Marley Chen. I'm with the California State Council on Developmental Disabilities, and glad to be part of this work group because we we are looking for ways to make sure that individuals involved in the justice system who might not have access to diagnosis for maybe their undiagnosed disabilities have access to those diagnoses and the services that they would be able to be qualified for. So looking for opportunities to work together with everyone here.
Great, thank you for joining us. Ruth?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Ruth Guzman. I'm with the Catholic Diocese of Orange, and I coordinate all the Catholic services inside the juvenile facilities as well as the Orangewood Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. Lexi?
Hi, I'm Lexi. I'm the Community Liaison at Innovation High School, part of Learn for Life, and we provide high school education for students ages 14 all the way to 24. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Jasmine, I know you just hopped on. If you want to briefly just introduce yourself and who you're with. Oh, I think, well, I can't hear you, but I don't know if you're on mute or if it's just the connection. I can't hear you. I'm not the only one, right? Mm-mm. Well, that's okay, Jasmine. Thank you for joining us. You can put your info in the chat too, so we know that you're here. And thank you again for joining us. I would like to now introduce our guest presenter for the day. We have Logan Altman, the Chief Impact Officer with Doing Good Works.
Thank you so much, Samantha. What an absolute honor and privilege it is. If at any point you guys can't hear me, certainly let me know. But the opportunity to share a little bit more about the resources and ways that we support so many of the incredible individuals that you serve. When I was offered this opportunity, I just said, I can't wait. So it is an honor and a privilege to be here with everybody.
Thank you so much. And then Logan, if you want to go ahead and start your presentation, I don't know if you had anything to share, your screen or anything.
Yes.
Okay.
I got lots of goodies, lots of goodies. Okay, so here, I'm gonna try this. I haven't done this on Teams in a minute, so
okay.
Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna try and do this a couple of times. So let's see here. You guys are gonna have to tell me, can you see my screen and it says we're on a mission with Doing Good Works?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna try something else here. We're gonna do a slideshow. Are you all still with me?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Please, I can't see you at the moment, so feel free to interrupt me if at any given time you guys can't hear me. I'm actually just gonna, so that way it doesn't automatically go, I'll just do full screen. So I will not be offended. So as Samantha had shared, my name is Logan and I have the honor of being the Chief Impact Officer at Doing Good Works. We are a certified social enterprise and a registered public benefit corporation that is out to use business to transform the lives of those impacted by foster care. So the way that we typically operate is we've got two incredible families of organizations under the Doing Good Works umbrella that I'm going to share a little bit about today. One is called Foster Greatness, and the other one is called DGW Branded. And I think that you guys are going to be really excited to hear a lot about what we're doing at Foster Greatness and how we're supporting the transition age and above young people, not only here in Orange County, but now across the globe. So a little bit about me specifically. My entire background began within the brand marketing world. I thought that I was going to be doing that for the longest time, but at the end of the day, I wasn't feeling overly fulfilled. This was maybe about 12, 13 years ago, and I had really no experience with those in the foster care system. The only time that I had was during my adolescence. I had the opportunity to serve at a local children's home to wrap Christmas presents through my local church. And I had the opportunity to hop on a bus, get over there, and I thought that I was going to be walking into what would be a joyous time with so many individuals that were going to be running up with cheerful smiles on their face and kiddos just excited to get Christmas presents. But after we had finished wrapping and those kids were coming through the door, I noticed something dramatically different, that those kiddos weren't filled with large smiles on their faces, instead more of timid little thank yous and very little eye contact, and they walked in and they walked out, and I left my head scratching. And I thought, why in the world are these kiddos not happy? If I was in their shoes, I would be thrilled to receive a Christmas present. It wasn't until a couple of months later I had the opportunity to read a letter on Facebook from a little girl in foster care. And she was writing a letter to Santa, and that letter had said, "Dear Santa, my name is so-and-so. I know you're going to be bringing lots of presents this year, but the one true present and dream that I have is to be a part of a loving family." And that's when it really hit me that back in the day, it was not about the presents that we were wrapping, but really the presence of belonging that these kiddos were striving for, things that we couldn't often really provide at the end of the day. So I went to college, got my bachelor's degree in business, and worked for a couple of brand agencies. That's what I ended up doing some of my my undergrad work in, was brand marketing. But there was always that tug at the bottom of my heart that I wanted to do something more, and I wasn't sure what that was. Enter the year 2014. I met my now co-founders, Scott and Jordan, who shared with me the vision of using business to transform lives for those impacted by the foster care system. And when they said foster care, my mind immediately went back to that day that I was wrapping Christmas presents and that realization that there was a broken system and it still had not been fixed, 10 years later. So I was told that they were looking to use the industry that I happened to know, which was brand marketing, as a revenue source to fund bettering outcomes. And so I said, this is a match made in heaven. Sign me up. I'm in. Don't know what you guys need from me, but I'm all in, because to me, that gave me a purpose to use the gifts that I really knew how to be able to use within branding to support the system. So we had an incredible time where we began as a staffing agency, hiring young people through Orangewood Foundation, through Olive Crest, through New Alternatives, coming in every week and interviewing folks to connect them with places like Disneyland and Sodexo, Starbucks, and it was so much fun. But then we noticed a type of an issue that was consistently happening, that the same people were coming back asking for a new job. And it was, oh my gosh, why? Well, I was late by 3 minutes and I was too afraid to talk to my boss, so I just didn't walk through the doors and I left. Or I have an altercation and I was too rude, and so I just don't want to deal with it again. I want a new fresh start. And I wish that was an anomaly, but it wasn't. And so that was where we realized that, my gosh, we have got to scrap simply just the opportunity for direct hires and really reshape everything. So I'll share a little bit more about that history, but so that was kind of my iteration into the organization. So I technically was third in command as the organization was beginning. And I've had the opportunity to, over the last 10 years, see the impact that's not only been happening here locally in Orange County with those that are transition age and with the businesses and organizations participating, but now on a global scale. So I also have the opportunity to serve on the board of a couple different foundations, and it is an absolute honor and privilege to be able to focus on using my, as I call, gifts in my spiritual world to continue to help those along the way. So that's just a little bit about me. Let's continue going down that quick story about how we began. 2015, realizing that there was a way to use business to transform those in foster care. Both of my co-founders, same thing. Neither of them had any experience in foster care, but had heard of the dismal statistics for those aging out, for the 26,000 that age out a year, and how those statistics have not changed over the course of quite a few decades. And both of them said to themselves, well, from our business perspective, if we were operating our businesses in a way that looked like 3% graduation rates or 50% homeless rates, in a business sense, we'd all be out of jobs. And so it didn't sit well with either of them. And they felt that utilizing business to fund creating bettering outcomes was the idea behind starting as a social enterprise, not necessarily being a nonprofit, but coming alongside those wonderful groups. So as I had mentioned, promotional products was that funding mechanism that everybody could play a role in. They didn't know how to brand organizations. I did. And there we go. So we wanted to start off as a social enterprise, not only to be able to say that we're using business as a force of good, but we were one of the very first registered public benefit corporations in the state of California. You may have heard of Tom's Shoes or Ben & Jerry's. Those are organizations that take it a step further when they're using business to create impact, and it's an actual tax bracket that you have to be able to create a unique system within the state of California or the state that you're in to actually show year over year through an audit exactly the impact that you're doing. So we wanted to start off the gate and say we are truly going to make a difference. When we really began, we thought about how can we support those transition age youth, knowing that at the end of the day, when 18 or 21 in the state of California, those youth age out, there really is nowhere for them to go outside of any of the connections that they might have used if they had a relationship with somebody like a caseworker or a CASA or someone at Orangewood. Otherwise, they were on their own. So we began and we hired our 2 first employees from the system. Both were in foster care and both had a unique success story. So we wanted to build around that. And that ultimately allowed for us to create a 3-year plan that then connected over 600 individuals to employment and hospitality, where we learned how can we couple that with resources and being a part of a community. From there, we ultimately continued to build out those partnerships and how could we have those incredible touch points with those transition age youth, groups like Royal Family Kids, Olive Crest, New Alternatives, to provide not only opportunities for donations through the sale of our branded merchandise with our corporate partners, but also in programs like financial literacy and education. And so for us, that really began our work here in Orange County that quickly scaled us throughout Los Angeles. As we moved throughout 2016, 2017, our opportunity to continue to work with Orangewood, I know we've got a representative here, alongside job fairs like at the Samueli Academy, all throughout the county allowed for us to serve over 300 youth. And that allowed for us to continue to support new organizations, where we were also utilizing donating essential supplies and training for furthering our impact. We built partnerships with groups like One Simple Wish, where we were able to turn those incredible wishes that young people that aged out had as a way for businesses that were purchasing their merch through us to support. And that helped us to allow to continue to pour dollars back into the exact wishes that folks want. And then we also created the direct donation program within our California Community College system, knowing that even at the time in 2018, 2019, federal and state funding was really tough for those programs that support young adults aged out of the foster system, like Next Up and Guardian Scholars. We said, for all the colleges that purchase through us, we'll donate roughly 10% back to supporting those programs. And that really allowed for us to support over 1,500 young adults on 22 campuses, where we were able to address things that federal and state funding couldn't support. And that was critical because we knew 3% graduation rates were really dependent on what we could do to help that young person feel that they can be successful in that educational setting. Throughout the pandemic, this really affected everybody. The business world changed for everyone, but for us in a significant way. As I'd mentioned, as a branding organization, that all went away. But we made it a very clear goal that we were not going to stop supporting the individuals that we served. And so we needed to pivot as an organization and find other revenue generation areas so we can continue to help a population that now desperately needed more stability more than ever. So thankfully, we created the Stronger Together Fund, which was incredibly successful. We set up an online site, allowed for folks to be able to go online, submit their emergency needs, and we had over 58 young people that asked, and all 58 were able to get immediate support, which was great. In that same time frame, our organizations had a lot of work from home needs, and that's where we actually began our very first community impact internship program for those that were not only in foster care, but those that were just as impacted in recovery, as well as those that had experienced homelessness. So we had expanded out the opportunity besides simply just those who have been impacted by the foster care system. Originally, we limited it to 5 individuals, but we had 37 applicants and we couldn't say no to anybody. So we offered 37 internships, continued to find a way to fund it. But what that allowed for was the consistency to know that we were not going to say no to anybody. And as that program built and our community partners like Sephora and Disney and Pixar had a need for sending kits and products out to various locations and to individuals' homes, that allowed for us to continue to build out a workforce pipeline, partnered with mentorship, that looked like hiring 74 individuals in 2020 alone, with not only jobs, but the opportunity for skills development and personal growth through coaching. So we had to really pivot quite a bit in that range. But to this day, that still is a very huge area for us that we continue to employ to this day that I'll talk about momentarily. We started to really get out of the pandemic and intensify our impact. We invested about $1 million by employing those directly from the foster care system. We then made up about 65% of all of our internal hires from the foster population, showing that we weren't out there to just talk the talk, we wanted to walk the walk. We created programs like the Masterclass and the opportunity for us to create what is now Foster Greatness, which I'll talk about in a moment, which is now that incredible opportunity for individuals all across the United States to have access to resources and be a part of a caring community that they never age out of. So where are we at today? So we've expanded our commitment. We donated over $1 million in 2024 with the focus that hasn't changed. We want to create lasting opportunities through job training, mentorship, and direct support. And then in 2025, we expanded Foster Greatness not only to every state, but we launched in the United Kingdom. We were asked by advocates in the UK who said, our network of care leavers is the Care Leavers Network. We can't seem to find a solution to be able to support those transition age with community aspects like resources and just a place to belong. You seem to have a great resource. We'd love to have that. We flew out twice, and thus Foster Greatness UK was born. So every investment that's come through the door to this day over the last 10 years, whether it's been both financial through the support of branded merch or through the in-kind contributions, has directly allowed for us to support over $4 million reinvested back into the population to transform lives and connect communities. So let's talk a little bit about Foster Greatness. This is something that I know that Megan and Samantha were really excited about, and this is our 10-year understanding of how do we support those impacted by the system. And so what it is, we co-created by, for, and with individuals in foster care, a dynamic platform that you can access anywhere now globally with people directly impacted by the foster system for employment opportunities, empowerment, and direct support. So why did we do this? Well, as everybody, kind of is starting to understand, and we're really getting better about explaining the statistics, but 80% of those resources for foster youth are not being utilized that are out there, especially for those that have transitioned out. That could be a combination of just struggling to find ways to access them or just not having a support system to help. 400,000 kiddos in foster care are always in the US at any given time, with 60% of them struggling to find reliable support post-emancipation. Because of that 80% being underutilized, it's really caused a barrier when it comes to awareness, accessibility, and trust. And then, of course, the isolation without feeling like there's a place to belong. It's hard to break through those cycles because of that fight, flight, or freeze mentality that you've had your whole life. And lastly, the support services are scattered, and it makes it difficult for individuals to truly find help that lasts. So we had to create something because there wasn't anything out there that looked like a singular place to belong to get resources. And so we built it over 3 years. And it really, like I mentioned earlier, is a community that you never age out on. It's built 100% by the system, by individuals from the system, and it's meant to provide lifelong peer support, career opportunities that we'll talk about, and incredible resources no matter where you are geographically in the United States. We know the foster system's impact does not stop when you age out. So a couple key points we'll talk about briefly are, one-to-one resource support, events and workshops that are hosted, crisis assistance, benefits screenings, resource finders, and the employment pipeline. We've got some incredible partners like Staffmark, the Foster Care Alumni Association, One Simple Wish, Eat Well, just to name a couple. So that solution looks like that digital space. So that way we know no matter where you're at, you're part of a community. It's all with lived experience, social determinants of health. And that's driven by the support team to make sure that we're providing that empathetic support and that trusted advisor approach. There's that resource search tool that allows for individuals for free to be able to look at resources by zip code with over 1,500 searches we've had in the last 3 years. And then community events where you can join in no matter where you are geographically and take part in some really fun things. And I'll highlight a couple that actually we just had over the last 2 months. So to dive a little bit more into each of those aspects, that resource benefits screener is incredible. It's a 10 to 15 minute assessment that looks at federal and state benefits that you may qualify for, like scholarships, financial support, educational opportunities, things that we often think, oh, I don't think I can qualify for. You're able to get an assessment that looks at everything that you technically are based off of your demographic, age, income, etc. So that's a huge way to be able to access financial capital for individuals who've aged out of the system. One-to-one support. This is extremely important that I mentioned. It is with, by, and for young people and individuals who've aged out of the system. It doesn't look like a caseworker. It does not look like even a CASA. It looks like a trusted advisor who's been through the foster care system that goes through a very rigorous training on how to be able to support with resources, but it builds that personalized help and rapport so they can help you navigate the scholarships, rent, crisis funding, basic needs, and be by your side. So you're not doing it alone and you're doing it with somebody else that actually has a bit of experience in the system. In addition, the employment pipeline, as most of us know, employment can be the gateway to financial success and stability, but doing so in a way that allows for a true technically a full wrap service. So that looks like career support through our incredible partner Staff Mark with resume, job coaching, interviews, actual placements, and then the ongoing support so you can continue to navigate what it looks like to work through a career position. Events and workshops, this is what we absolutely love in creating that community. It's things like we're cooking together, or we're hosting open night mics, maybe panel discussions from how to learn about navigating post-college, or how do I navigate single parenthood through other lived experience advocates. What it is it's creating spaces where you're seen, you're celebrated, and you're never alone. And those are some of the most powerful things that we can say for those aged out of the system, is feeling like you're never alone. We also look at the Resource Finder tool. This incredible tool is an easy to use program. And the support service locator, like I said, is everywhere in the United States. You type in your zip code, say you're out in Arkansas and you need housing support, you can go on and search and it will populate all the list of vetted individual authorities and who to be able to contact. So you can work directly with our navigator to actually help get those resources versus you trying to do it on your own. And crisis assistance. This is important. As we know, individuals with trauma and various adverse childhood experiences experience crisis in a way that is a little bit different than somebody who doesn't have very many ACEs. And so whether somebody needs help with emergency housing, critical assistance of how to pay rent, our team is here to help, and we are online 24/7. So those are just a little bit about what lives within the foster greatness community. So that lived experience network, as I mentioned, just to give you that a bit of, just a recap, is that one-to-one support from the individuals through the system. It's that personalized help to navigate the system, utilizing tools that help you wherever you're at geographically, looking through those comprehensive categories, forums and discussion boards where you can engage with other lived experience individuals and advocates to be able to feed off of one another and hear about what's going on in life. And then it's a wonderful event hosting platform, not only for ourselves, but for other individuals to host. We literally just did a financial literacy workshop where we had one of our banking partners come online and host a webinar, which was really fun. We had a couple dozen attendees. So it's a great place for external folks to be able to host workshops and events as well too. A little bit about the resource finder, just so you can see, if I typed in 92618, there's 95 different programs in our area. You can then pare it down, you'll see the map, but it gives you a real geographic specific area so you can see what's all involved within the resource finder tool. The benefits screener, which is great, it's very user friendly. 10 to 15 minutes, you get your results based off of your responses, and then those benefits are explored either by yourself or with the resource specialist. It's great for potentially full-time students and those trying to navigate post-secondary education, because you've got the earned income tax credit, you've got the Pell Grant opportunities, certainly the foster care tax credit that applies in California, and then ways that you can also find coverage in the marketplace for things like medical, dental, vision, prescriptions when you're after 26 in the state of California. The employment support pipeline, so for those looking to navigate workforce opportunities, this is a real robust program, but it's very easy to use. And the goal is to really bridge that gap between foster youth talent and meaningful career opportunities. We want to really look at what the specific individual strengths are, their goals. And we know that every single person's ambitions are different, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that idea of being able to meet the talent where the jobs are at and within the market to set up for success. So that way we're doing so that's very much in a sustainable way. This has been a real one for breaking that cycle of continuing unemployment and to build that long-term career success, because you get coaching, you get mentorship, and of course, retention tracking. Fun different types of support groups that go on. I'll give you one example, the parent support group. So our community members have really expressed the desire for those that are single parents, their parents trying to navigate having little kiddos. And it's challenging for anybody, but trying to do it when you do not have a strong support system is difficult. So We built our own groups. We've got some operating, and I believe it's close to 15 states right now where they actually all integrate. But it's just to build that network and say, you're going through life as a single parent, so am I. We've been through the system. Let's actually be resilient together in navigating parenthood so we can continue to build each other up. Tax support. This is something that so many folks in California don't even realize, that there's up to $1,117 a year for you simply just being in foster care, and being able to not only get that foster youth tax credit, but help when it comes to tax support are things that we offer within the foster greatness community. In 2024, we actually have to update our 2025 numbers. We helped 77 folks get over $39,000 back. And that's money that they deserve to be able to start to build their futures. So Tax 101, all in the system. The last thing I want to touch on are weekly events. These are fun because, as you can see, these are actual events that have taken place. Things like how to have self-care and boundaries. The virtual gingerbread contest party we just hosted in December with 100 folks across the United States building gingerbread kits that we sent out. What an incredible time it was for the holidays. The community cooking party that we did throughout the month of November in partnership with Eat Well. We do almost 2 to 3 a week. So there's always something for somebody to be able to participate in when they're involved in the community. And what are some of those members saying? You know, Lauren had mentioned through the workshops, mentorship, and just the encouragement received, I started to believe in myself again. It didn't just help me grow, it reminded me that my past does not define my future. It gave me the tools, the guidance, and a sense of belonging I never thought I had. And Julie had mentioned I was introduced to foster greatness through my Guardian Scholars program at her local community college. The program's been incredibly supportive in so many ways. The staff are welcoming, and I love how involved the program is, especially with the community feed that helps me connect members with one another. The support I've received so far has been amazing. I know I can count on Foster Greatness for their continued support and helpful resources. And so what I'll also do when I'm finished, just going to share a little bit more about the other side of our organization and take some Q&A, but I would love for us to make sure that however we can get everybody involved within Foster Greatness, I leave some time to be able for folks to scan. Everybody on this call is welcome. It's open to anybody who cares about the foster care system and is an advocate, and of course, those that are served. So to kind of wrap things up, I'll touch a little bit briefly on how we fund a lot of these initiatives, and that's through our DGW branded initiative. And so it really is better merch for a better world. Anything with a logo on it, we'll use to transform lives and connect communities. And so what our thought process is we wanted to utilize that understanding as a social enterprise and a benefit corporation, that there were ways that we can support using business as a force of good, using what is traditionally a commodity-based realm to ultimately do better for people in the planet. And so our thought was, let's continue to bring together those global partners that have incredible stories of products and services that we can then put our branding guidelines behind, instead of just another pen with a logo on it. But we're really intentional about those partnerships. And it's really created such a diverse supplier base that's allowed us to create inclusivity and sustainability. We're very innovative in how we merchandise, especially for our community nonprofits and for-profit partners. And that's because we don't just go to a website and say, go find a tote bag. It's all about how we collaborate closely to understand what's the goal, what are you looking to do, and what's the budget. We want to focus on sustainability if we can, and understand what's the entire goal in the experience. So it's a little different than sending you to a bit of a website. We empower workforce development for all. So as I mentioned, our goal, we always reinvest profits into job training, skills development, and career opportunities for those justice impacted from the foster system, in recovery, and those who've experienced homeless here in the Southern California region. And what's been great is that it's then that open hire model. We want to know that there's that opportunity for those that have been in prison, those that have been in the homeless situations, that you've got a seat at the table, and we want you to know that your fresh start starts now. And it really allows for us to create not only such a unique, diverse workforce, but one that actually has a very low turnover rate. And boy, has that been incredible to see for those people that are not used to being able to support themselves in a long-term position. So we're very much in the approach about handpicking and thinking about the end goals, expect nothing less than world-class service, and how we can reinvest profits back into the community and provide the workforce development opportunities that we know the communities we care about so desperately need. We're focused on clean supply chains, job creation, and our team of category experts to really take the stress out of the ordering. Those things like custom kit experiences, branded merch, shipping and fulfillment logistics, print materials, anything you can think of, put a logo on. That's really what we focus on. A little bit more of some of the branded kits that we've done in the past. Those are all kitted locally here in Orange County by the individuals and the populations that we serve. So we were able to hire for Warner Brothers, for Disney Pixar's Inside Out, for PRA. And we have every week, there's always consistent work for our workforce development team. So it's never that you're sitting with idle time. We do our shipping and fulfillment here as well. So we teach individuals how to be able to read a pick ticket, what it looks like to run, even helping individuals become forklift certified, and how they can ultimately start to develop those skills that if they want to spread their wings, it's very transferable skills. So learning to scribe and pack and inventory control, all working alongside our able-bodied staff. And then we do some real fun experiential activations. So thinking more outside of the branding box on custom displays and on-site builds and materials and creating some really fun activations. These are just a few of the ones we've done over the last few years that take it outside of slapping a logo on the product. And then a little bit about our reinvestment into the community. As I mentioned, that number is now over $4 million. We still have to run our 2025 numbers, but how we've continued to use business to support transforming lives and connect communities. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that that never changes. And for us, the experience of saying you're already buying your merch, do it through us, has been an absolute blessing. So what I'd love to do is that's the end of my pitch, if you will, my TEDx talk. I want to open up to Q&A. I've got this right here on my Keep Connected, but what I want to actually do is I'm going to flip this back to my Foster Greatness slide. So if anybody at any point wants to be able to take a scan at that QR code, it's going to link you directly to our Foster Greatness site where you can sign up. It's incredibly intuitive. I highly recommend everybody to just play around in it and just see how not only interactive but life-changing it really is. So I'm gonna end there. I'll be quiet and open up the floor to some Q&A. So thank you so much for allowing me to share a little bit more today.
Thank you so much, Logan. That was amazing. Very thorough and an excellent presentation. But, I want to open it up, like you said, to anybody that has any questions or comments for Logan. Feel free to speak up, or you could put it in the chat and I can read it as well.
I have one. I'll just jump in here. Logan, thanks so much for that wonderful presentation. I am curious. I have a couple questions for you, but the first one I'll start with is if anyone is interested in becoming a coach or a mentor for the young adults that you all serve, is that a possibility, and how do you make those connections, and how can that happen?
First off, that is the area that we continue to want to build into, is how can we get the community involved for coaching, for mentorship opportunities to continue to show that we want to pour into those that we serve. So there's a couple of different ways. One, I highly recommend certainly downloading and being part of the community. But two, if you go to our fostergreatness.co website, there's going to be a form at the bottom for getting involved. It actually will go directly to my team. What we would then be able to do is set you up, or anybody that's excited about coaching, with not only my COO and my co-founder, but our community advocate, Isabel, to be able to think about what can we continue to do to support that. So I would definitely, if you don't mind, submit a request on our website, because we could really use your support. And knowing that that is something that you're excited about, we're excited about too.
Awesome. Looks like there's one. Sam, I'll let you take this one. It looks like there's one in the chat.
I think Trayvon's just saying, I'm reaching out to you to see if you could share your contact information so we can discuss the services you presented.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. I'll drop it in the chat too. It's actually up on the site too as we're speaking, and I'll make sure that after the presentation's done, either my email can be added or I can send an email out, but it is under the Stay Connected.
Great, thank you. And anybody that hopped on late, if you could also put your name and contact info in the chat as well, that would be appreciated. Any other questions or comments? We have someone typing.
Excellent. I'm going to, I'll stop sharing the screen so I can see everybody here.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, I see it right here. Hello, my name is Travion. I work with the Orange County Young Adult Court. Yes, very familiar with that. I'm reaching out to you to see if you could share contact info so we can discuss the services presented. Travion, I will save your information and 100% will be in touch. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Nobody else has any other questions or anything? I know I'm definitely gonna do the QR code and explore and all of that good stuff too. Oh, and then also, if you could share, even if you share the slides, Logan, or send me the presentation, then we also send out a follow-up to this meeting and also with a link for people to watch the presentation again that might have missed it as well.
Excellent. I see Kiana put an exclamation point. Logan. I love it.
Yeah, sometimes in Teams when you go to like type, it doesn't let you skip lines, it sends it. So sometimes our messages get sent too soon. So
Yep. And she said I want to discuss services as well. Kiana, if you share your contact information, I'll copy and paste it as well and drop you an email too. So fantastic, very much so. Yes, Marley, that is correct. As far as 50% of former foster youth experience homelessness, that actually is even what's crazier is within the first year of emancipating out. For those justice impacted, it's 75%. So yes, those statistics are shocking, and why we are out to do what we do, because it's been that way and continues to feel like it's not getting better anytime soon. So yes, 50%, and that, to note, is within the first year of aging out of the system. And thank you, Kiana. I got your email. Perfect.
I can jump in with another question because Logan, you mentioned that you've been with Doing Good Works for about a decade, right?
Since the beginning, yes.
Okay, since the start. So I guess this is more of like a philosophical question, but I guess I'm just curious, like from your vantage point, what are the biggest headwinds, barriers, obstacles today that foster youth face, like maybe compared to like even before COVID? Like, I don't know if those headwinds maybe are different today than they were then, or if they've evolved in some capacity, but would just be curious to like hear your thoughts on that.
They have evolved in the downward trend, and I wish that wasn't the case. But I think the reality is we've all felt the impacts of the wars, the inflations, certainly with the rising cost of living that's not matching the wages. For those that have been in the foster care system, there isn't really, for most, any type of fallback for those. And that's why we've actually seen some of those negative statistics continue to rise, is because there isn't somebody that they can call when they say, hey, I can't really afford food this week. EBT or SNAP benefits at one point were, suspended. And so it's created a lot more uncertainty. And because there really isn't any place out there to belong outside of what we're really focusing on for those who have aged out of the system, most don't know where to turn. And so that's why they end up either back in prison or jail, or they end up homeless and on the street, is because they just don't know where to be able to truly go and navigate that. So the headwinds have continued to be a struggle, I think, and I tell this to so many folks, I don't believe we felt any sense of normalcy since around 2018 or 2019, because every year it's something different, whether it's tariffs or whether it's inflation or pandemics or wars. The world continues to be evolving, interest rates and rising costs of living. And we don't know when that's going to normalize out. When we feel like we're starting to get our feet under us, something else transpires and funding's cut or whatever it might be. So that uncertainty has really created a lot more of difficulty for those who have emancipated out of the system, and why it's so imperative that we get access to support in a way that looks like at any given time I can pull out my phone and be able to type in on Foster Greatness, hey, I need some financial help immediately. What I've noticed too, and your point is great, is that so many of our users, we've got about 2,400 users in the system currently in the United States, is most don't engage. They're not in the active, sessions that are going on, or they're not on the community forums every day. But what it is we're that safety net in the back pocket. That when they're going through life, if something happens, they know I'm going to pull out my phone. I need to be able to figure out emergency funding. They can go right on and know that they can get support immediately. So that lifeline is critical. It's getting the word out there to making sure folks know that, yeah, the world's crazy. You've got a place to belong and here to support through your life journey.
And can you also remind me, maybe you mentioned it during the slideshow, but with the Foster Greatness app, does that connect young people to resources across the country? Is that correct?
Across the country,
Yeah, that's
every
amazing.
state,
That's
everywhere.
awesome.
So we had a partnership with a wonderful group. They're called Find Help. They're incredible. They said, what you guys are doing, we want to let you white label it. They're based out of Texas, and they have 500 staff that every day go in and update the resource tool. And so what it is it allows for anybody. I had somebody that was out in Juneau, Alaska say, hey, I really need to be able to figure out how I get an auto loan. And they typed it in and it was able to help populate some of the resources out that way. So because we are operating in all 50 states, it allows for those geographically to have their needs met wherever they are, and then to navigate that alongside our career specialists who are also individuals who've experienced foster care. It just gives that support, knowing no matter where you are geographically, there's resources available.
No, that's awesome. Okay, thank you. I'll stop peppering you with questions.
No, I love it. This is great.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Of course.
So cool. And I was going to ask actually how many users, so you already answered that, but
yeah.
I just, to your point, I think just, even if they're not using it all the time or often, just to know that there is that backup, that they can go to, I think is just so fascinating and so amazing. And I'm so excited to even be able to know about it and share with folks too. So thank you so much. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I'll also throw this out there for anybody too, and this of course goes for the hire team. We send out little resource cards at no charge. So if you guys ever have a need, or folks are coming in for drop-in centers or whatever, we do this for a lot of the community colleges, boys and girls clubs, etc. For those individuals that they can quickly grab and take a little Foster Greatness resource card. We'll send them at no charge, so that way there's always that opportunity for those who may need the support to have access to it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if nobody has any other questions, then we can move on to announcements and stuff. But I just want to make sure that, Logan, did you get all the information out of here that you need? If not, definitely reach out to me and I can get you, or if anybody else needed any other information, that we get that in there for them. But again, you guys can reach out to me, and I know, like I said, we'll send in our newsletter, we'll send a follow-up, and we'll also have the video as well.
Perfect. I got everything I need, and thank you again to Samantha and Nicole and everybody at Hire, not only for the work that you're doing, but everybody on this call. You all are doing phenomenal work to transform lives, and I'm just so grateful that we get to all share some space this afternoon. So thank you again for letting me speak.
Oh, thank you for such an amazing presentation and the work you're doing. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, take care.
Thank you. All right, I wanted to open it up to you all if you had any announcements. Our next Youth Subcommittee meeting will be April 8th, and our next Employment Subcommittee meeting will be February 4th. But I think that's all the announcements I had. I don't know if Nicole, did you have any other announcements or anything? I don't think there was anything else.
Sam, did you say the next meeting was April 8th?
The next youth one is
next youth one. Okay.
And the employment one is February 4th.
Maybe it's too soon, but just I guess might as well just mention, most people on the call probably are aware that we host our annual Reentry Resource Fair in the spring. This year is no different. We'll be hosting it in May. Last year was supposed to be May. We had to punt to September, but 2026, it will be in May. And not at the Honda Center, where it typically has been held, because that's under construction due to the OC Vibe expansion, but it will be at the Grove in Anaheim. So we have not sent out official flyers and collateral for that yet, but knowing that the next meeting isn't until April and then the resource fair is right around the corner, I figured I would just at least plant the seed now. So yes, if you all have any questions about that, feel free to ask us now. Or if something comes up later, you can reach out to myself, Sam, or Sammy on the call, and we can make sure we get information and answers to you. But just wanted to plant the seed. It's going to be here before we know it.
Yes, thank you. Any other announcements? Or any, if you have any flyers, anything that you want shared, please feel free to either email them to me or also put those in the chat, and we can share those in our newsletters as well. If we don't have, if we don't have anything else, we can wrap up early, but I just wanted to make sure if anyone has any ideas of presenters or needs of someone that, you think would be helpful for you all, please also feel free to reach out to me, and I will do my best to secure a presenter on that topic as well.
Hey, this is Connie with the Juvenile Justice. I just want to thank you very, very much. It was really wonderful to hear Logan speak and what all the services that are available. It's amazing. It just makes me so happy to know those opportunities are there, and hopefully we get some of these young people to them. That's the main thing, right? Anyway, but I appreciate it very much, and I will bring all this good news back to the commission and let them know what's going on here. And it was very positive, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.